The findings of the Bushfire Royal Commission are just 2 weeks away, but 18 months on from the Black Saturday fires, and there's growing frustration among those trying to rebuild. Some residents trying to build new homes are struggling to find the materials required to meet the tough new regulations. Erin Vincent visited some of them.
Come inside and I'll show you our temporary little quarters.
This is where Bill and Glenys Broderick have lived for the past 14 months.
So this is home?
This is home, yeah, temporary home. Yeah, as you can see, there's no finish on the roof.
You didn't think you'd be here this long?
No.
They've poured $40,000 into their shed to try and create the comforts of a home on the same Upper Plenty block where they lost everything on Black Saturday.
We would have much rather spent this money on the house, but that's the situation. You've got to have what you have. You've got to have somewhere to live, so here we are. This is our little abode.
And even though it's 18, it's crazy, isn't it? 18 months down the track, I can feel the tears. Sorry. Sorry.
No.
Yeah.
It's been a long battle.
It has been, yep.
Only in the last fortnight has their new home started to take shape.
Front door?
Front door. Porch?
Yep.
Their block was initially categorised as within a flame zone, the highest bushfire danger rating on the scale. To reduce the risk, the couple spent thousands reluctantly clearing the trees that lured them to the hills in the first place.
And because we're not spring chickens, we were at retirement stage, and it is a bit difficult because there's a lot of work to do. Yeah.
Eventually, their rating was lowered, but they've still had to outlay $20,000 to cover design modifications to meet strict rebuilding regulations. They say they're so emotionally exhausted, they've stopped questioning the costs.
We would have had wooden doors and wooden sliding doors and whatever in the house. All that had to be, none of that aluminium. We've got to put aluminium up now. Our windows can't go down to ground floor. Have a look how much wood's inside the house. I mean, what's the difference? With a bit more on the windows. Yeah, that's just plain ridiculous.
If you knew what rebuilding here was going to involve, would you do it again?
No.
20 kilometres east at Humevale, Colin Hill is facing his own flame zone battle, unable to get a permit to rebuild an affordable home.
So when it's built, we'll be safe as houses, won't we?
His biggest problem is that no suitable domestic windows have been developed to withstand the flame zone testing regime. He claims he's facing additional rebuilding costs in excess of $130,000.
Everyone in the building industry knows it's flawed. The Building Commission technical officers know it's flawed, the councils know it's flawed, engineers know it's flawed, but no one's willing to stand up and put their hand up and say, Mr Brumby, this system is flawed.
Victoria's Building Commissioner believes a balance of safe and affordable housing can be achieved under the laws, but admits flame zone cases are very much a work in progress.
We would, as I say, hope to be able to mitigate against some of that cost by working with the designs that they've got, and I do encourage people to contact our Building Commission staff.
What's been harder for you and more stressful, losing the house or trying to rebuild?
Oh, trying to rebuild. Just frustration, stress added on top of all the other stuff.
One windows manufacturer believes it's close to developing the first standalone domestic window which could be used on Victoria's most bushfire-prone properties.
So it survived 28 minutes of the half-hour test?
Just over 28 minutes, yes.
And the glass was intact?
It was still intact.
To pass the test, windows must survive naked flame exposure inside a furnace, with temperatures peaking at 840 degrees. The company has invested more than $250,000 into the project and is trying to secure government assistance to fund more trials.
There's no doubt that we've run our, to our limit.
You need assistance?
We do.
The Building Commission says 85% of all homes lost on the 7th of February were due to window failure.
There were nearly 200 people that died, and a lot of those people actually died in houses. So going forward, in these highest of high-risk areas, we think the houses do need to be designed in such a way that they can withstand a flame situation.
Risk consultant Dr Ian Bennett specialises in designing structures that can withstand fire.
I think we probably rushed into adopting regulations and indeed probably developing the standard probably too quickly.
The regulations were made Victorian policy a month after Black Saturday and were adopted nationally in May this year. But the Building Commission argues much of the policy had been finalised by Standards Australia well before Australia's worst bushfire disaster.
I don't think it was rushed. I think it was just simply coincidental that we were close to a completion.
Does it make sense to you to adopt regulations when the materials aren't available on the market?
Not particularly.
For a house to be defendable, you need to create a defendable space.
Even those who designed the flame zone standard seem to have their doubts, including a clause leaving the regulations open to change.
There were a few dissenting views about some aspects of flame zone.
So it's a real possibility that flame zone regulations could change after the report?
Well, certainly we'll be guided by what the Commission says.
More than 2,000 homes were destroyed in last year's fires. 600 building permits have been issued to date.
I would anticipate that this will go on for a couple of years.
I hope people don't get a false sense of security in thinking that because they now live in a flame zone resistant house that they should stay. That their first option should always be to leave.
Despite all the cost and effort, Bill and Glenys Broderick say they don't feel any more protected than they did prior to Black Saturday.
If we have the same firestorm come through again, these houses will go. I don't care what they say.
You're convinced?
I'm convinced, all right, yeah. But I'll still live here. We love this place.
Erin Vincent with that story.